Screening and evaluation, measuring results. Module 7, learning objectives. Review, estimation, hypothesis testing, and regression. Statistical tools for evaluation. Trends, taking action. Some changes brought about through development interventions are tangible and can be measured directly. In some sectors, health and agricultural development can often be measured accurately through industry standards, tools, and indicators. However, this may require expertise and additional resources. Where feasible, direct measurements is usually the strongest form of evidence. Measuring change at different levels. Change at input and output levels are the easiest to measure directly. Organizations can usually record their inputs, such as finance and human resources, with some degree of accuracy. In many cases, it may also be relatively straightforward to measure and record outputs, such as training sessions conducted, schools built, resources published, or children immunization. At outcome, at impact level, the ease with which change can be measured directly depends on the type of work being conducted. In other sectors of work, it can be more difficult to measure change directly. There may be ways to directly measure the change in some work environments, such as governance or empowerment. For example, some change resulting from empowerment work could be measured by recording the number of women who work for the local government and the ratio of girls to boys in secondary education in supported areas. Strengths and weaknesses of direct measurement. When the direct measurement is performed correctly, it's usually the strongest form of evidence. Its main strength is what it is replicable, which anyone using the same tools and methods should come up with the same measurements. Information gathered through direct measurement is considered objective, which is not open to interpretation. Things to consider when measure direct change. Direct measurement may only tell part of a story. It is easier to identify direct measurements at input and output levels than at outcome and impact levels. Direct measurement can take time and expertise to do well. If a direct measurement is used to generate statistical data, then proper sampling methodologies needs to be applied. In straightforward cases, the change being measured may not be contested, may be uncontested. Direct measurement is often the best way to assess change. However, it might only tell part of the story. Other factors such as the degree of an organization's contribution to change, the quality of product delivered, different views of the change being measured, and the intent of other changes, which may be harder to measure, needs to be considered. Statistical tools. Statistics is a form of mathematical analysis that use qualified models and representation for a given set of experimental data or real-life studies. The main advantage of statistics is that information is presented in an easy way. Understanding type of an analysis, probability, central tendency, Variability, relationships between variables. Probability distribution. Type of analytics. Descriptive analytics tells what happened in the past and helps a business understand how it is performing by providing context to help stakeholders interpret information. Diagnostic analytics takes descriptive data a step further and help you understand why something happened in the past. Predictive analytics predict what is most likely to happen and provide an actionable insight based on the information. Prescriptive analytics provides recommendations regarding actions that will take advantage of the predictions and guides the possible action toward a solution. Stop the video now and discuss within your team how statistical tools can be implemented in your project. Probability. Probability is the measure of likelihood that an event will occur in a random experiment. Conditional probability is a measure of the probability of one event occurring with some relationship to one or more other events. Independent events. Two events are independent of the occurrence of one does not affect the probability of the occurrence of the other. Mutually executive events. Mutually exclusive events. Two events are mutually exclusive if they cannot both occur at the same time. Bayes' theorem describes the probability of an event based on prior knowledge of conditions that might be related to the event. Central tendency, mean, the average of the data set. Median, the middle value of an ordered data set. Mode, the most frequent value in the data set. If the data have multiple values that occur, the most frequent, we have a multimodal distribution. Skewness, a measure of symmetry. Kurtosis, a measure of whether the data are highly tailed or lightly tailed related to a normal distribution. Variability, range, the difference between the highest and the lowest value in the data set. Percentiles, quartiles, and interquartile range, IQR. Percentiles, a measure that indicates the value below which a given percentage of observations in a group of observation falls. Quartiles, values that divide the number of data points into 4 more or less equal parts or quarters. Interquartile range, IQR, a measure of statistical dispersion and variability based on dividing a data set into quartiles. IQR equal Q3 minus Q1. Variance, the average squared difference of the value from the mean to measure how spread out a data set, a set of data is relevant to mean. Standard deviation, the standard difference between each data point and the mean and the square root of variance. Standard error, SE, an estimate of the standard deviation of the sampling distribution.